I'm going to show you how not to cut down a tree. I don't know why so many people insist on cutting trees down the way I'm about to show you. What I do know is I've never seen an experienced professional cut a tree down this way. And I think for good reason. I think when people do this, they think they're being clever, but they're actually setting themselves up for a potentially dangerous situation. And what they think they're doing is not doing what they think they're doing. What I'm talking about is down-angled back cuts. When they do that, they make their face cut, undercut, notch, whatever you want to call it. They do that the typical way. Then when they make the back cut, they start up high and cut down at an angle. I don't know who taught them to do that, where they got the idea to do that, but for some reason, some people do it that way. As I often say, there's more than one way to do things, but I want to show you a reason why you might not want to do that. As difficult as it is to even think about doing it myself, I'm actually going to do it on this tree just to demonstrate. Just don't tell anybody you saw me doing this. I'm going to do it up here instead of down at the base, just because it makes for an easier video up here instead of down on the ground. Start by putting the old earplugs in. I'm going to do a Humboldt undercut because that's the way I roll. Actually, I'm going to do a conventional because that's the way most people do it. I'm already cringing just at the thought of making this angled back cut. Remember, you can't tell anybody I did this. I could lose my chainsaw card, my man card, my out in the woods card. I could lose all my cards if anybody catches me doing this. But here we go. I don't even know if I can do this. This might turn out really weird. We'll stop there because I don't want this to actually go over yet. Before I show you what's going on here, I'm going to do another conventional up here with a horizontal back cut so we can compare the two. It was painful enough for a West Coast guy to do these goofy top-down notches. I think one of the reasons people do these angled back cuts is they think if the tree tips back, this angle back here, this high, I don't know what you'd even call that, this high thing right here will give the tree some support if it tips back. It'll keep it from falling backward the wrong way. It also gives you more room to put a wedge in. Before we talk about why that doesn't actually work that way, let's talk about why the conventional horizontal back cut does work that way. Of course, we want the tree to go in the direction of the notch. Sometimes trees don't always do what you want them to do. If it tips back the wrong way with a conventional level back cut, this back cut will close up on itself. And once it closes, the tree can't go back anymore as long as your hinge holds. The hinge is the wood you leave between the two cuts. You always want to leave some hinge when you fall a tree. As the tree tips over, that wood that you leave acts as a hinge and directs the tree in the right direction. With a conventional cut, you already have protection against it going back the wrong way. If it does that and this closes up and you don't already have a wedge back there, then you have another problem, but that's for another video. What people are trying to accomplish with this angled back cut, you already get it with a horizontal back cut. And the horizontal back cut does a better job. If you look at the tree like a lever, your force is from up above. Your fulcrum is going to be this point. The fulcrum is the pivot point of a lever. If you look at the tree when it tips back, when that happens, when that tips back, this part's going to be lifting up on the hinge. The tree will be going this way. This will be pushing down back here and lifting up on the hinge. All the stress on that hinge will be trying to pull the wood fibers apart. Wood has a lot of tensile strength. That is where wood is really strong. In this case, you have a lot of strength right there because you're working with the strength of wood. Whereas with the angled back cut, the tree is going to be pushing high up here, which is going to be pushing this part out this way. Instead of it pulling up on the fibers, it's pushing them out this way. And it acts to try to shear them off. Wood doesn't have a lot of shear strength. It's just a difference in leverage. With this, it's pulling up this way. With this, it's pushing out this way. And as it pushes out this way, it's also trying to split the wood. And wood splits fairly easy. If you put a wedge in this way, you're pushing up on the tree to try to push it over. And all that strain is pulling up on the hinge. If you do it this way, if you try to wedge it over this way, you're pushing the tree out this way, which is shearing off those wood fibers. There's a better chance the tree will then break off and then tip back this way and fall over. If I was to pound on the wedge, what it's doing is it's pushing this out this way, which is causing a splitting force this way, as well as a pushing out force that way. Again, the difference is this way, it's lifting up on the hinge, taking advantage of the high tensile strength of wood. This way, it's trying to shear off the wood fibers. And wood is not strong that way. This is why you'll probably never see a professional, experienced timber faller or arborist making these angled back cuts. Where I usually see these is up on BLM land where people are out poaching firewood. In most cases, when you do an angled back cut, you're probably going to get away with it just fine, especially on a tree like this that's leaning in the right direction and it's not really a hazardous tree. But why would you want to make an angled back cut when there's really no advantage to it? Or at least the advantages you think are happening from it are actually the opposite of what you think it might be. Another reason to not do an angled back cut, if someone who knows what they're doing sees you doing it, they might point and laugh at you. You don't want that. Either way, this video wouldn't be complete without completing this tree falling over. Let's finish cutting this tree over and watch it fall down. Another problem is when you're making that angled cut, it's hard to line it up just right to where you're supposed to be down here. I had to make an adjustment right here at the last minute. With a horizontal back cut, you can have it lined up in the right spot from the beginning. Now, to get rid of all the evidence. We'll just throw these in the bushes. Nobody will ever find them. Nothing happened, nothing to see here.